Kanye is, quote unquote, running for president. He just did his big campaign launch, I guess you could say.
Press conference? I just thought it was a
press conference, something like that. Or there's a term for these events.
Campaign rally?
Rally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Rally. Yeah. So, what are we thinking here? I mean, for me, it seems that this is the same Kanye cycle. I don't know why people haven't caught up on this already, but it's like cause some sort of like commotion, drop music. Cause commotion, drop music. Cause commotion, drop music. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, what are other times where he did it?
Just about every...
I'm trying to think of the other famous ones that we can think of, though.
Life of Pablo,
the
did he do it?
TMZ situation.
The TMZ situation, then he drops the album.
Was that the same time when he was wearing the MAGA hat?
Yeah, I think those are the same too, yeah. I wonder if the George Bush Don't Care About Black People, was that followed by an album at all or no? That was just really in the moment shit.
I think he had already dropped College Dropout. I think.
Yeah, College Dropout was 2004. He said that in 2005.
Yeah.
Right. Well, look, point is, it seems like this is the pathway for Kanye, right? And but it seems to be continuing to work. And he was at this rally, and he said some very interesting things. You guys already probably saw by now, but he said the thing about how he's like super against abortion.
Yeah, he said he'll pay you $1 million to not have an abortion.
Right. Bet.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy.
Bet.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. I think if people had $1 million, they wouldn't have abortions.
That's the new SBA loan.
But you know what I mean? Like, that's why they're getting abortions, because they don't have the money. Like, it's easy to be a guy who's a billionaire going, I'm not going to abort any of my kids. It's like, it's like the fucking, when ugly dudes go, I'm not going to cheat on my girl. It's like, you're not.
Yeah.
You are not.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And if I'm not mistaken, he said it will be paid for by Africa and Israel.
Africa and Israel are going to pay for what?
For people to not get abortions. The $1 million.
I mean, this is just unbelievable.
Here's why I think he's actually gone off the rails for real. That clip of him crying, saying like, I almost killed my daughter when he's talking about abortions. I was like, oh, this guy's actually gone now.
Yeah.
He's actually gone. And nobody in that fucking, none of your in-laws are going to save you. This is just like, they know next season the ratings are going to be through the fucking roof and they're happy to let it happen.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That's where I was like, when he said the Harriet Tubman shit, I thought it was hilarious. He just got them employed by other white people. It was just so funny.
So yeah, say the whole thing for
He said something like, he's talking about Harriet Tubman. He's like, well, Harriet, when she freed the slaves, he goes, well, Harriet Tubman didn't really free the slaves. She just had them working for other white people. Which is like, yeah, the ones who weren't slave owners.
Yeah. No.
You know what I mean?
Like, she was working, not slaving.
Yeah.
The big difference between those. You get to go home at the end of the night.
Yeah. One has a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Anyway.
How could he be that, like, just dense?
He's
like,
he's not dumb. I really think I was like, oh, this could be PR or whatever. When I saw him crying, like, I was like, either he's a fantastic actor or he's actually gone. And it is, we act like he's different than the homeless guy on the subway who's ranting for nonstop for 45 minutes the entire train ride because he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
He's that mentally gone. He's that mentally troubled.
Do you think it's possible he just has access to so many, like, wild people and, like, interesting people that are able to put things in his ear? And he just, like, grabs onto people whose, like, stuff sounds interesting to him?
Bro, you know who he spoke to before he went on TMZ? Who put all that shit in his ear? Eric Weinstein.
Really?
Yeah.
Who's Weinstein?
He's one of these like intellectuals that will be on like the Rogan podcast a lot. But yeah, so he spoke to, and so Eric Weinstein is like telling him all these things that maybe if articulated via Eric Weinstein would be far more digestible.
Right.
But he just picks up on, what was it?
Slavery was a choice.
Slavery was a choice. Like, what?
Yeah, but it's possible you could go on like a logical train to be like, technically, maybe, blah, blah, blah.
Is it also possible that a crazy person hears those, or a person who's mentally unwell hears that and then hears, hey, don't get an abortion, I'll give you $1 million. China and Israel will pay for it. Or Africa and Israel will pay for it. Like, could it be a mentally crazy person hears a smart person talking, and then it goes through their brain, and they're like, "Oh, Africa will pay for you to not have a baby."
100%. Right.
I mean, like, he's just in a position where he has the most interesting, brilliant people ever reaching out to him that he could talk to.
He got access to them, right? Man, like, who knows? I'm not putting this on Candace Owens, but like, it's not the craziest thing to hear a conservative person say that Harriet Tubman just got black people working for different white people.
It could be a woke sentence in a different context. If it's like, yo, slavery never ended.
Right. That's the thing. It's like how you encase ideas is so important.
Yeah.
Like if, for example, if that sentence came from one of like these like super woke activist types, and they were like, yeah, we were free in the North, but we were still oppressed. We were still treated like shit. We were second class citizens. We couldn't get jobs. We did all this other stuff. It's like, so y'all created new slavery here.
Yeah.
If that was the context in which it was said, I don't think anybody gives near the amount of pushback. But the way that he has the way he articulates
kind
things,
of
like
the idea of 13th, the documentary, is they just found a new way to enforce slavery with the prison industrial complex.
Right.
That's something we all look at and it's like, oh, fuck, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Coming from a guy who just spouts it out, slavery never ended, Harriet Tubman didn't free any slaves. It's just like, and he didn't even say slavery never ended. It's like, what do we do with that? That's just a crazy person talking.
Yeah. Yo, but you guys said something about Kanye that, and it's a characteristic of people that are losing it a little bit. They get people away from them that.
oh yeah,
So can you make that argument about Trump? Because he has a lot of those characteristics.
I don't see Trump as someone who's mentally ill. I don't see it.
But he only has people around him that is feeding him the knowledge that he wants to hear, even if the knowledge is wrong.
I don't think that's an exclusive quality to crazy people.
I would also say about Trump, from everybody that I've met that has met Trump, what everybody said to me, and it was the same exact thing. They go, really nice, blah, 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 blah. But then they go this. They go, curious. I go, what do you mean? They go, he just asks questions. What do you do? And then explain to me what you do and why you're good at it. Oh, and why is this like that? Why is this like that? And it was an interesting and I think important characteristic. Now, does he want to be around? Does he want to have like sycophants around him? Is that the knock on him? Sure. Or does he want to have people that will execute what he thinks is the right thing to do? And he feels like in DC, if he doesn't have someone who's on his side, he has someone who's actively trying to take him down. That would be what I'm thinking. Like if I'm going to DC, right? I'm bringing y'all. Not because I think y'all agree with me, because I think that y'all are going to give me the best perspective. Maybe at the end of the day, we have like the common goal together.
All right.
But Akaash might be like, nah, you're going too crazy. You got to pull back on that. You know what I mean? Okay, fine. I agree with you. I'll pull back on that. We all want this to happen. How we get to there might have different methodology. And that's where you lean on people. So maybe he got people who agree with where he wants the country to go, but they might disagree on the best way to get there. Does that make sense?
I get it, but I don't see that happening. Son.
I might be completely wrong. Yeah. And it could be wrong where he wants the country to go.
You should not be able to scratch your entire Achilles tendon, yo.
Son,
put on some lotion.
Son, I got eaten up by bugs, bro. I got literally destroyed by bugs. You don't see all these bug bites, bro? On my fucking ankle, bro. I think they came in when you wore the fucking honeycombs on your feet. Literally, when you walked in, look at all these bug bites all over me because you had 2 honeycombs on your feet.
What you doing, yo?
Bro, I'm going through it, dog. I might have. What do dogs have again?
Fleas?
Fleas, bro.
You got fleas.
I might have fleas. I really might have it.
All right. Scratch himself for 5
What else
minutes.
we got?
Okay.
What is the abortion thing with Kanye? I know we touched on it, but did we really?
He said he'd pay you $1 million and not get an abortion, right? And then he said he almost aborted his daughter.
Yeah. So he broke down crying because he was like, oh, that's why he's against abortion, because he's like, if I would have had my way, I wouldn't have my daughter right now. And if his dad, who didn't want him, had his way, he wouldn't be alive.
Oh, his dad didn't want him?
No.
Really?
That's what he says, but.
Yeah. And not to mention there's a movement within like black conservatism specifically that's like harping on abortion as like a bit like one of their like talking points.
Yes.
And in what way?
Because they're like, so basically they put abortion clinics pop up in poor neighborhoods.
Right.
And poor neighborhoods are predominantly black in like urban cities and stuff.
Right. Or maybe poor neighborhoods aren't predominantly black, but there are going to be a higher percentage of black poor neighborhoods.
That's a better way to put it.
Right.
And so as a result, a lot of black people in America have abortions, and they have them at higher rates than like their representation of the population or something.
Yeah, so I read it was something like 50% of abortions.
Something like that. So now black conservatives who are obviously against abortion are like, yo, they're killing our people, blah, blah. And so that's what,
right.
So that's popping up in black conservative areas. And I think he's got black conservatives in his ear that are like, yo, you got to push this out there.